Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Barry at Moss Pawn & Gun, and today we have another gun gripe episode for you. And you know, the gun gripes generally relate to, obviously, gun-related things and things in the gun industry, things in the pawn shop industry, stuff we see on a regular basis. But this particular gripe is really, I hate to say a little more political, but it involves all of you. And we're going to talk basically about the recent re-election of Barack Obama. And you know, we've been thinking long and hard about what this week's gun gripe would be, and once that particular event occurred, I mean, really, that kind of...
Well, it's almost like it's like we're rehashing other gun gripes, but this time it's for real. We already know that Barack Obama's been reelected, and we already have plans, or they already have plans to bring back the Clinton crime bill. I think they may take it one step further than that. I don't think they're just going to ban the features of some of the guns. I think they're going to go after certain class of weapons, the whole gun. I'm not talking about the collapsing stocks and the threaded muzzles and the bayonet lugs. That had nothing to do, and the crime bill before was for 10 years, and it reduced crime no way in hell, zero.
That's right.
Crime was not affected at all. Only law-abiding citizens had to pay more money for the guns they wanted. Guys that bought expensive ARs for their collections and spent a lot of money on them, they lost money. When the crime bill sunsetted, their guns were worth half what they paid for them.
That's right. And we're already seeing a bunch of rhetoric being spewed by people like Dianne Feinstein, however you say her name. She's out in California, and of course she's already starting to, you know, oh, we got to have another assault weapons ban, and we got to have more restrictive gun control and all this stuff. And you know, it really, like Barry said, we're kind of rehashing what's already occurred. And of course, you know, yes, in previous gun gripes we've talked about how gun registration, of course, is completely useless, how stricter, you know, gun legislation is completely useless. What it comes down to is it's a nanny state, and they want to control you, and they want to control what you do, and it's all mind power. They just want to have control over what you do and influence your everyday decisions, and they want you dependent on their system. And really, you know, a free person is their biggest enemy, and somebody that reads, writes, thinks, and works and pays taxes is basically everything that they hate. And I hate to admit that, but that's the way I feel about this administration. They hate freedom. They hate people that walk a straight line and do the right thing, people that pay their taxes and pay their fair share. I mean, that's their enemy. They want a diminished and completely dissolved middle class. They want a slave class and a ruling class, and that's it. And honestly, I think that's what they're trying to drive us to.
Well, where they're fixing to overplay their hand is when they're going to start going after the billionaires. They're going to start taxing the heck out of them. And once that happens, rich folks, I don't have anything against rich folks, they make jobs. But if they make it so tough on a rich man, and they put a price ceiling on whatever he can charge for stuff, or whatever he can make a year, guess what? Jobs are going to go downhill because they're not going to make any more jobs. Right. They don't need to.
Right, but they're getting what they want because they're going to have people that are dependent on the system, dependent on aid, and it's really, to me, just a bad overall hand. You know, I'm not happy with the results of the election. Now, I will, as I always do, play devil's advocate. I am a person of logic, not emotion. And when it comes to the logical explanation for everything, the bottom line is that we held a democratic election, and a president was re-elected in a democratic fashion. He won the popular vote. I mean, you can't refute, you know, that particular fact.
Right.
Barack Obama was re-elected. I mean, that right there, that's democracy in action. Yes, he was re-elected. But my question is, you know, why? You know, and that's one of those things. There's so many people dependent on the system, and so many people that are sucking that government teeth. I hate to put it that way, but that's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, if it quacks like a duck, it is a duck.
Right.
And why people would knowingly vote for Barack Obama again is beyond me.
Well, what I would have loved to hear from him in some of the debates that he was in, I would love for him to say, look, we've made some bad choices, we've made some bad decisions in the last 4 years, we know the economy is going down, but this is the direction we're going now, we're going to change our direction. But all he has to say is we're going to move forward. Well, how far forward have we moved in 4 years?
Right.
You're going to have to change your direction. I think he is capable of doing what we need to do as well as anyone else, but he's going to have the proper guidance. And I don't think that we've been going down the right road for the last 4 years. And I would have loved to hear him say, look, we made some bad decisions and we're going to change. We're going to go down this road now.
I mean, I don't hate the man by any means.
No.
I really don't. But it's one of those things that, you know, at the same time, would I have loved to have seen Garry Johnson be elected president? You better damn believe it. I'm a card-toting libertarian, and I would always vote libertarian. But of course, I just think we live in a society and a group of people that is not going to see. We're never going to see a libertarian president.
No, because the majority of people are not for liberty.
No, they're not. And you know, like even the Obama administration said, oh well, we owe the Latino vote. You know, the Latino vote was what put us back in office, and you know, we owe the Latinos. Well, you know, my thing is, yeah, you look at California, they got a lot of people, they got 55 electoral votes, and then, of course, California is always, you know, going to vote towards, you know, the Democrat side or whatever, but, you know, like Florida, you know, you look at the Southeast, and you look at all the red states in the Southeast, and then Florida is the one state that's going to go blue on us. But why? I mean, look what's in Florida. Illegal immigrants, people that, you know, it's just a giant conflict of interest.
It is.
Where, you know, to me it's a conflict of interest. You know, now, is that saying that I'm a sore loser because my person didn't get elected? Maybe. But I'm entitled to that opinion. Now, if someone don't get out and vote, they ain't got the right to complain.
Right.
But I voted. I know Barry voted.
And I voted.
So I can complain my piece. And that's, you know.
And I think the country is going to continue to go downhill. They're already telling you that. This morning on the news, they were saying that the average family taxes are going to increase $3,700 a year on average family. They're going to start taxing the hell out of the rich folk because for some reason these rich folk owe them something. They're going to, they showed a little cartoon car going off a cliff, said economic cliff. Gasoline is going to go up again, big time. It's down right now. Gas is like $3.20 a gallon right now as I speak.
That's
but
right.
who knows what's going to happen next? Your property values are still going to decline, and you're just not going to have the voice that you want.
Well,
And
see, what's funny is that the Democrats have always historically gone after guns generally, okay? You know, anti-gun legislation, stricter gun legislation. But what they don't realize is that when a Democratic president gets elected and has a Democratic, you know, thing that's going on with their cabinets and everything, is that it increases gun sales. More guns
Right.
sell when someone like him's reelected. So they're really getting the opposite of what they want.
Right.
Because more people are going to buy guns because they're scared of an assault weapons ban, which of course, you know, so far, as far as I know, we hold the House and the Senate in terms of the Republicans have the majority. So, yes, I mean, there's that argument that they could pass something in the form of a presidential order, executive order. Yeah, that's, you know, theorized that could occur. But if he goes by the book and gains, you know, Congress, the House, the Senate, you know, everyone's graces, then I don't think they would, you know, go that route because they know it's a career ender.
Well, I think they're going to go after guns under Obamacare.
Well, I do. You know, they're going to say that it's a harm to your, you know, well-being.
Obamacare is a
Right.
tax. Make no doubt about it. It's a tax. It has something to do with health care, but that's not the main agenda.
Right.
And remember, they can always railroad something through. On it, they can tack a gun control bill on a highway bill if they want to.
Well, what's funny about Obamacare is that it was pushed through under the guise that it wasn't a tax.
Right.
They kept saying that over and over. It's not a tax. It's not a tax. It's not a tax. How did they get it passed? Finally, as a tax. So really, it was a tax to begin with. They just wouldn't. You know, it's this type of just non-straightforward, you know, shooting that puts me off from that type of administration.
Right.
Shoot it to me straight. If it's a tax, call it a tax, and let people vote and make their minds up on it accordingly. But don't just say, "Oh, it's not a tax," and sweep it under the rug. See, if they wanted to fix things, here's a really easy way they could do it. For one, anybody receiving government assistance shouldn't have the right to vote. So that right there would clear things up a lot, because I'd look at it like it's a conflict of interest. If you're accepting government aid, then I think it is a conflict of interest for those people to vote.
Right. It
Okay?
is a conflict.
People that are on, let's say, welfare, food stamps, whatever, that's fine. Give them the assistance they need. Mandatory drug tests, all right? And then stricter control over, hey, are these people looking for jobs? What are they doing?
Right.
you know, they shouldn't be allowed to have fourth and fifth generation welfare recipients. You know, it's completely a conflict of interest. It really is. And that, to me, that's the biggest quorum, to think that I have to go and work my ass off every day and pay my taxes, but yet someone today woke up in their flip-flops and pajamas and went up to the 7-Eleven at 1 o'clock in the afternoon after they just woke up and bought a beer and went home and laid in a drunk all day and didn't do nothing. But they're basically being paid to do that. And that's the conflict. That's what I have against it.
Well, yeah, they should monitor people who are on welfare, and there's nothing wrong with welfare and relief for those who need it. That's what America's all about.
My wife was on welfare for a very short amount of time when she was younger. I mean, but she took what she needed from the system, got her way back into the world, and then life goes on.
Right.
But welfare is not there to just sit on like some egg and then teach your kids that that's how they're going to grow up too. I mean, it's a huge conflict of interest to people that pay their fair share, and that's the bottom line.
Right. Well, I've had people lately. I was telling them that there's no way Barack Obama would be defeated by anyone, and I was right. And people say, "Well, you're not being positive." Well, I'm 57 years old, and I've watched this country decline for the last 40 years, and we are in the last phases of the decline right now. We couldn't be in worse shape. You can't imagine us being in worse shape, but we're going to be. But I just feel sorry for the people out there who have gone to school, they paid money, they can't find work, they can't enjoy the fruits of their labor because they can't find a job.
And then if they can find a job, they get taxed to hell and back to pay for all these Joe Schmoes that are not doing nothing.
You also have to remember, the unemployment rate may be 8 or 9% or whatever, but that's only the people that are drawing unemployment benefits. The ones who have given up finding a job and the ones who are not getting a check anymore, they're not counted.
Right.
The unemployment rate is way over 8%. It's way over 8%. And I know people right now that cannot find a job to save their life.
That's right. So we're going to end this gun gripe by saying, you know, all we ask is let's just try to remain positive with the way that things are going. I mean, I know it's hard. I know there's a lot of people that are upset. I know there's a lot of people that are happy as hell that Obama got reelected. And look, and again, I will play devil's advocate. You know, if you voted and it went the way you wanted, great, more power to you. That's what being an American is all about, is voting, and you know, that's all about, that's your right, okay, that's fine. But all I ask is, you know, ask what your country needs of you. And that's, you know, we all have to be productive, we all have to pay our taxes, and, you know, ask yourself, you know, what you can do to improve your country every day. Is it sitting in your pajamas smoking dope? Probably not. So, you know, think about that, what you can do to better your country. I mean, that's all I ask of you. You know, I pay my taxes, I work my butt off, I pay my fair share, and I work hard and I play hard. But, you know, if you're on the system and you're taking the money, you need to be doing something. I mean, you know, find something to do, you know, make this country a better place. You know, don't be a part of the problem. That's all I ask.
People use an excuse, well, I live in the middle of the ghetto. I can't do this, I can't do that. My mother used to have a saying, it's not where you live, it's how you live.
That's right.
You can change your community.
Yeah, nobody forces you
You have to be involved in your community, though.
Right.
You know, you can get out in the morning, if you don't have a job, go out and pick up trash in your neighborhood.
That's right. Or volunteer, man.
Volunteer for something.
Do some volunteer work.
Right.
You know, it don't hurt. Boys and Girls Club, I mean, there's all kind of volunteer agencies out there, the soup kitchens, all that stuff. I mean, those people need help. You know, you can make a difference. You don't have to get paid to do it, but just do your part, you know. And I think if we all just, you know, abide by that, the country can get out of this slump. But, you know, when the amount of people drawing on the system increases and the amount of people that are paying their fair share gets pissed off, and we're just, you know, that math don't add up. Okay, and you know, eventually, the problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money. Right. And eventually that's what's going to happen, and the tax-paying people in this country are not going to put up with it much longer.
You gotta stand up for yourself.
Right.
But there again, you know, you vote whichever way you want to, and for whatever it's worth, that's what it is. But like Eric said, we're going to have to remain positive no matter what happens, because if we give up now, we're lost. If we give up now.
That's right.
We can all fight to do something better. We can all, we may have to downsize in certain areas of our lives and things like that, but we've all got to contribute something. And
you have to pay your dues eventually.
Eventually.
And
Eventually.
just remember that. Eventually you will do your part in one way or the other.
Right. So y'all try to keep a stiff upper lip and keep a positive attitude, and I guess that's going to be our gun gripe for this week. And we're going to try to move on and do some more positive videos in the future, and we're not going to be harping on this much more.
That's
because
it.
There's no need to.
That's it.
We're going to have to do like Barack says. We're just going to have to move forward.
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
Right.
So
we have some really awesome videos planned in the pipeline. And look, I know this video is got a lot of, touchy subjects for a lot of people, but that's the nature of it. I mean, everybody has their own opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. This is ours. If you don't like it, that's fine. If you do, that's fine too. But that's what we think about it, and we appreciate you watching.
We sure do, and y'all keep watching us now.
Have a good one.
Have a